Hey guys, it's aribiterspar and welcome to my Slayer guide for Hellhounds. So on your screen right now you can see some information about the Hellhounds. First is the amount of which they are assigned by each Slayer Master. Kuradal assigns either 130 to 220 of them at a time, Duradal 130 to 199, and Simona 120 to 185. The level 122s have 1150 life points, and the level 127s have 1160. For killing a Hellhound, you get 116 Slayer experience, and the main locations we're going to be using is the Cavalry Resource Dungeon, the Cavalry Dungeon, and Kuradal's Dungeon. So, first we're going to start off with what you should be wearing. The best setup, if you can afford it, is of course Bandos, Tassets, Chestplates, Amulet of Fury, Fire Cape, Chaotic Rapier, Dragon Defender, the best boots and best gloves that you can wear, as well as a Berserker ring, and a full Slayer helmet. Chaotic Rapier is the best chaotic weapon used for a Hellhound's task, but if all you have is a chaotic longsword, then I recommend using that. Also, if you do not have any chaotics, then Abyssal Whip is your best bet. Also, if you cannot afford Bandos and are more interested in saving prayer points, then you can equip Proselyte instead of Bandos, as well as a Soul Wars cape instead of a Fire cape. However, I recommend if you are going to be using Proselyte that you at least keep the Fire cape if you have it, so you have a bit more of a strength bonus. Next, we're going to talk about your inventory setup. Now, you're going to be needing a cannon if you want to kill them for the best Slayer experience per hour. However, I will talk about a non-cannibal place later. But if you're going to use the best place, then you do need a cannon. Next is your potions. For the best results, use overloads. If you can't afford overloads and you have extremes, those are acceptable. If you don't have extremes, then you can use supers. You can do this only bringing 2 overloads to the task, but I never know if I'm going to have to go AFK for a little bit or if I'm not going to be focusing very well, or for whatever reasons I like to bring an extra overload with me for just in case purposes. Next is your spec weapon. I recommend Dragon Claws is the best, but some good alternatives are Karasi, Dragon Dagger Poisoned, and just regular Dragon Dagger, as well as other decent spec weapons. A house teleport, if your house is in Cavalry, or if you have completed the quest A Love Story, you can bring a Cavalry teleport, as the Cavalry house teleport is the fastest way to get to Hellhounds, besides just running from Falador. Next, you don't want to forget your Slayer ring, so you know how many kills you have left. I also bring a summoning potion to recharge my summoning potions when my familiar's special bar gets too low. If you have a bone crusher, it is good to bring that, as the Hellhounds do drop a lot of bones, and it's easier to see your drops, as well as you get some prayer experience if the bones are automatically buried for you. Bring some special scrolls for the best familiar that you have. You also want to have the best combat familiar that you have summoned. As well as, I bring an Amulet of Glory, but you can bring a different means of telly, like a Ring of Dueling. However, I like just wearing an Amulet of Glory because I prefer to bank at edge. Next, if you've completed the quest A Rum Deal, you don't want a Holy Wretch in your inventory to restore more prayer points per potion drank. I saved prayer potions for last because the amount of prayer potions that you bring really does depend on what you're wearing. If you're wearing a Soul Wars cape with Proselyte, then you're not going to need as many prayer potions. However, since I'm wearing Bandos and a Fire cape, I'm going to fill up most of my inventory with prayer potions. Sometimes, just to be on the safe side, I will actually fill up all but one inventory slot because I am also going to be placing the cannon down, which opens up some more spaces afterward. However, 11 prayer potions should do me just fine for this task, as all I'm going to have on is Turmoil instead of Protect Prayers. To get to the first and the best of the Hellhound killing spots, there's 2 main ways. You can either teleport to Falador and run from the bank through this dungeon entrance, or you can teleport straight from your Cavalry house. I do have my house teleport set in Cavalry though for this main purpose, so I'll show you what it's like to run from there and where you go once you get inside the dungeon. So, you're going to want to teleport to your house, if it's in Cavalry, and run south until you get to the ladder. Once I get to the ladder, I'll start recording again. So once you get here, just south of the Cavalry main city, you're going to go down. If you have 70 agility, you can go through the obstacle pipe. Otherwise, you're going to have to run all the way around, up through the gates, and you're going to need to collect a dusty key as well, which is farther through the dungeon. If you keep going through the dungeon, you will eventually come across the area where the dusty key is, and then you can open the gates near the demons. However, 70 agility is a fairly common stat, so we'll just be going through the obstacle pipe for now. Once you get on the other side, click on your mini-map to run around. You're going to run past some black demons, and they will most likely not harm you, as they will only get 1 or 2 hits in on you as you run by if they're not taken up. There tends to be a lot of bots in this area, so as you can see, I didn't get hit. Proceed to run north past the spiders. Take this middle passage down, and don't go left. Make sure you don't go left and up, because you'll run past dragons and they can breathe fire on you. This resource dungeon, where we're going to be killing the Hellhounds, requires 55 dungeoneering to enter. So alternatively, if you do not have 55 dungeoneering, another decent place to set up your cannon is out here. However, it is not multi-combat as it is inside the resource dungeon, so you'll not be gaining nearly the same kills per hour. So, we enter the resource dungeon, and from here we want to make sure we have our quick set prayers to turmoil and nothing else. Alternatively, you can use lesser prayers if you're on non-curses spellbook, or even if you are on a curses spellbook, you can leech. So, the best spot to put your cannon in here, I turned turmoil on right about here so that the defense boost, but the best spot to put your cannon is come to this torch and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces east, and 1, 2, 3 spaces north. After a lot of testing, we have found that this is the best spot to place your cannon. Now, you're going to want to stand directly under your cannon so your cannon gets a full rotation firing around the Hellhounds that come down. There are going to be a couple of Hellhounds that the cannon does not fire at, mainly the ones to the south. Now, when you first set up your cannon, you're going to have to come down and hit one of these to lure them, because a lot of Hellhounds would have followed you in, therefore messing up the cannon where it is. If you have Soul Split, then I would recommend turning it on, and then use your Overload, and then proceed to use your special weapon to heal the most out of your hits, so you can keep Soul Split on for a less amount of time. Equip your main weapon along with your defender, the best defender that you have, and proceed with the kills. I also have my familiar left click option set to special move, so once I click it, as you can see, he does his special move. Now, you want to try and stay under your cannon, like I said before, so you get the best kills per hour with the cannons coming in from all angles. So once your health is up enough, then you can take that off. Alternatively, if you do not have Soul Split, you may need to bring some other means of healing yourself, such as a healing familiar like a Bunyip or a Unicorn instead. Or you could bring a Beast of Burden familiar with more prayer pots and turn on Deflect from melee or Protect from melee. Or you might find yourself not even needing to bring a familiar and still be able to use a combat familiar if you are set up with the Proselyte and Soul Wars cape. At maximum combat stats, with Overloads, Turmoil, a Steel Titan or an Iron Titan, and Dragon Claws, this method can max around 63k Slayer experience per hour. This is one of the fastest Slayer monsters in the game, and a task you should never really cancel if you have the ability to cannon them here. Hellhounds are a good Slayer task for combat experience as well as range experience. However, they are not that great on charms, as mostly all they drop is gold. Most players will not use gold charms to train summoning, as I don't either. I only pick up greens, crimsons, and blues. This is not the best task for summoning experience, so if you're looking to get some summoning experience, then you wouldn't want to camp these, but as far as Slayer goes, these are definitely good tasks to still do, as other tasks make up for the summoning experience lost by doing these. The next best place to kill Hellhounds is in Kuradal's dungeon, because of the plus 40 boost of strength from Kuradal's ring, or plus 40 boost to hits. And that is if you are not going to kill them with a cannon in the resource dungeon, or kill them with a cannon outside the resource dungeon, because the cannon still does damage in a non-multi-combat area, only to one Hellhound at a time though. So, if not willing to cannon at all, you will be using Kuradal's dungeon. Now, there will be some changes if you're going to use Kuradal's dungeon, because you cannot use a combat familiar cannon. You're either going to use a Unicorn, or a Beast of Burden, or a Bunyip. You're going to need a healing familiar or a Beast of Burden, basically. And that is because, well, you can't use the other things. So you'll either use a Unicorn to heal yourself, or you'll have a Beast of Burden with more prayer potions in it, and you'll use Deflect or Protection prayers. I recommend just using a Unicorn. This will cost you less money in prayer points and stuff overall, even if you were to wear Proselyte. The two main ways to get to Kuradal's dungeon are from the Ferocious Ring Telly or using the Fairy Code. The Fairy Ring Code for Kuradal or get to the ancient cavern, is BJQ. Since a lot of people may not have a ferocious ring teller or may not know what to do after they go through the BJQ code, I'll show you that. Plus, I don't have a ferocious ring myself right now. The quickest way to get to a fairy ring is to equip a ring of slaying, rub it, and teleport to the Relilka Slayer caves. This teleport puts you directly next to a fairy ring. Well, almost. So, as you can see by the little spot on your minimap, run west, equip your Draymond staff, and teleport through the fairy ring. Once teleported through, you'll arrive in the fairy realm, and then you can click again and use the combination BJQ. Or if you've already used it, it is set in your travel log. So go to BJQ and you teleport. Once there, quickly run south to get away from the water fiends, because they're scary. Go up the stairs, past the barbarian spirit, and you'll arrive right next to Kuradal. This is also the spot where the ferocious ring tellies you. So, equip your main weapon along with the ring, ferocious ring if you have it, berserker if you don't. There's also a small obelisk here to renew your points. And then turn on your prayers and kill the Hellhounds. It is worth noting that you also cannot kill these if they are not your task, because they are not my task. Obviously, I can't kill it. However, the Slayer experience per hour here is much, much, much less than if you were to be cannoning them, even in the single zone cannon, or especially the multi-combat cannon place. I would not, if you have the points to cancel these, this is definitely a task I would not do if I was not able to cannon. But if you are able to cannon, then I will do it. I would do it in the multi-combat place. If you're here though, your Slayer experience per hour from these will be more than halved and should be somewhere between 20 and 30k, which is horrible for a Slayer task, and that is with overloads and bandos and claws and max combat stats, as well as quite a lot of focus. So it'll probably be more likely to get between 10 and 20k Slayer experience per hour, which I'm sure I don't have to tell you is quite horrible. One question you might be asking is, well, if you don't have a ferocious ring, why are you killing them in the Kuradal's dungeon? Why not just kill them in Cavalry instead? Because that is a single combat also. If you're not going to use a cannon, then you might as well kill them there, right? The answer is no, that's wrong. Because killing them here gives you a chance to get a ferocious ring job, which in turn, in the end, once you get the ferocious ring job, will become faster than doing it in Cavalry. So yes, it is the same speed as doing it without a cannon in Cavalry until you get a ferocious ring job. Then it will be faster than just killing them one by one in Cavalry. Well guys, I hope this video helped you out and I hope you enjoyed it. If it did help you out, or you did enjoy it, feel free to give the video a like or a favorite. It does really help and is appreciated. Feel free to come check out my channel for more RuneScape guides and content as well.